Yes, the Bitcoin BTC price has exceeded the $10,000 mark for the first time, which crosses an important psychological barrier for the people of Earth, or anybody in any country. At the same time, many are concerned over the traditional stock market and fiat currencies across the global economy. And as cryptocurrencies and the cryptocurrency market capitalization stays above the $300 billion market, will the financial institutions across the world step away from the conventional markets like the stock market, which may accelerate a deepening economic crash? So is Max Keiser correct when he says that the US dollar is in the process of collapsing against Bitcoin? Will we see, or more abruptly, are we seeing fiat currencies in a hyperinflationary collapse against Bitcoin? And is this something that central banks or any country is going to be able to stop or control versus what can you do about it? Let's discuss. Hello everybody, I'm Gary Palmer Jr., you're you, and together we are Minting Coins, your trusted source for crypto news, interviews, and ICO reviews. If you're new or not, tap that like button and subscribe to the show to show your support. It helps us, it helps other people find this content, and also leave your questions and comments as you have them in the comments box below, so your voice is being heard as part of this larger community. In this video, we're going to be talking about Bitcoin, we're going to be talking about the US dollar, and we're going to be talking about the inflationary effects and really the hyperinflationary effects that people will likely be experiencing if this trend of Bitcoin continues, if the valuation of Bitcoin, even if there's a correction, between $4,000 and $8,000, as low as $4,000, $8,000. If we, a year from now, continue to see this strong support at $10,000, then later down the line, we could see the price of goods go up, the price of food go up, other prices of things go up, because what's happening? Why would the prices be going up? They're not going up because the prices are going up. They'd be going up because the value of the dollar, the USD, the Benjamins, the dollar bills and the 5s and the 10s and the 20s, those would be going down in value. It'd require more of those US dollars to buy you a loaf of bread or a dozen eggs or a gallon of milk, because the value of those dollars are decreasing. And when you're just living in one country, and if you're in New York and you never go to Canada, then you never recognize what the exchange rate is between these two different countries. But if you are someone that crosses between the two different countries quite regularly, if you recognize that you had money and you're going to Canada, and then just 1 year later, 11 months later, your $100 bill, instead of being able to buy, as it was $100, is now able to buy only $10. That is the situation that we are now in with Bitcoin. Less than 1 year ago, 11 months ago, Bitcoin was less than $1,000. It was like about $800 or $900. And now it's over 10 times that, $10,000. And so not just is the value of the Bitcoin going up, but people need to recognize the value of the dollar is simultaneously going down. There's this concept of hyper-Bitcoinization, where Bitcoin is just going to gobble up and consume any fiat currency that gets in its way, increasing to its market capitalization. And that's what we've been seeing. That's what we're going to be talking about. That's some of this information that we're going to be reviewing today. So with that being said, why don't we go over a couple public service announcements, take a look at the market, and then let's discuss. So real quick, I just wanted to give a real quick public service announcement. I wanted to show you what's happening over here. It looks like we received this email to our email address over here at mintingcoins.com. And no one knows my email at Coinbase. Only Coinbase knows that email. I don't use the work email or the personal email to do the same work as the other work, right? and what's happening is that there's lots of phishing attacks. And so someone is just assuming that this is Coinbase, or that, you know, that we expect to receive Coinbase emails here, and this looks like a Coinbase email. It does a great job to look like Coinbase.com. Just be really careful about these emails. Don't click on these. This is an obvious phishing attack. Even if this was totally legit to my right email, I still wouldn't click on it just because I'm, you know, very skeptical of links. Even when they look legit, it can be obfuscated. It can just look like a link, but when you click on it, it actually redirects you somewhere else, or it actually clicks you to somewhere else. And so just recognize this is happening. If I click this link, and it's actually this .ml address, if I click this link, it takes me to a page. I'm sure it would look like Coinbase.com. I'd put my information in that fake Coinbase website, and then they would have my information to then try to hack in themselves and then empty out my account. So this is happening everywhere. You know, no one would be able to fix this for you if you know, the blockchain money, you know, leaves one wallet to another wallet on a blockchain. There's no return funds. And so it's critically important that everyone takes responsibility. That's like the good and the bad and the ugly with the blockchain technology and the cryptocurrency industry, is that while at the same time you have this additional power, this freedom, this authority to be able to be responsible for your own wealth and your own sovereign right to send and receive secure messages without requiring any third party or intermediary to approve or deny or delay or to take an extra cut of that. At the same time, you need to be responsible for your security and understand the technology, and that's what we have to say about that. So moving on, turning into the market recap, starting over here at coinmarketcap.com, living in a world with over 1,327 cryptocurrencies. We have a total market capitalization that's sticking strong above $310 billion. That's over $0.3 trillion for those of you who are paying attention. And the past 24-hour trading volume just significantly above where we historically have been watching this, even over the past year, all the way up to $14.6 billion. That's a lot of trading to be trading in the past 24 hours. The Bitcoin dominance has actually increased to 54%, as a lot of people have been selling their altcoins for Bitcoin. Bitcoin price has increased another 4.3% in the past 24 hours, and now we have been sticking this landing above the $10,000 price, currently $10,063 per Bitcoin. Total Bitcoin market capitalization at that 54.1% is $168 billion. These numbers are just going to increase and increase over and over again. Past 24-hour trading volume for just Bitcoin alone, $6 billion. And then followed up by Ethereum Classic at $1.6 billion. There's a lot going on with Ethereum Classic and their announcements that they have talking about. Cardano, which is separate but connected to Ethereum Classic, is also up very significantly, 76.7%. And then what do we have here? Those are up. Yeah, then we have Monero up too, because when Bitcoin goes up, a lot of people like to siphon up that Bitcoin into the Monero because they like to have a balance of their money inside the digital gold that is Bitcoin. And then people also like having a certain portion of their wealth in a privacy token as well, for whatever reasons that they have. That is the trend that we see. IOTA also up, lots of coins up. A lot of these coins, you know, as we were saying before, are going to get brought up because at some point, you know, you could say between Bitcoin or Litecoin or Bitcoin and Ethereum or even Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, there's some sort of valuation difference where only so much money can go into one of these tokens before people see, you know, a huge arbitrage of value, whatever that means. And so, you know, that's why a lot of people have been saying that the price of Bitcoin goes to $1 million. By default, that makes Litecoin worth, you know, still 1% of that, right? So right now, if, like, we've been talking about this for a long time, if Bitcoin is $10,000 and then Litecoin is 1% of that, yeah, 1% of that. So yeah, so it's still keeping that ratio, still keeping that 1% ratio. Where are we with Ethereum? Ethereum 472, Ethereum Classic 33. So this is chasing that 10% as well, but not quite. It's just interesting to see all these go up. And just keep in mind that with Litecoin, if you have 84 Litecoins is the equivalent of owning 21 Bitcoins in terms of Litecoin. So, if that wants to be a goal of yours right now, it's 84 Litecoins is less than 1 Bitcoin. And so that's an interesting little fact. Let me know what you think about that. Continuing on with the market news and looking at that. If you're following us on Facebook or if you're following us over here at Instagram, I suggest that you do. We post, some semi-interesting stuff and really cool photos and articles and all sorts of really good links. Go check that out. We have this graphic here that we just posted today talking about how much 1 millibit coin is. And so 1 year ago, we have January 2017, 1 millibit was worth $1. And then mid last year, some point, it's almost irrelevant when exactly, a $5 bill was about 1 millibit. And now, less than 6 months later, we're not even in the beginning of December yet. And we have 1 millibit equals a $10 bill. And so, just like this is going in the opposite direction. And so right now you have, you would have been able to buy 10 times as much Bitcoin 1 year ago. And now with your USD, you're going to be able to only buy 1/10 as much. And so these are significant times. This is hyperinflation. When you look at it from Bitcoin to US dollars, if Bitcoin was its own country, then we would be either looking at this as in terms of this mass increase in value for this country of Bitcoin, or perhaps we would be looking at it as a mass inflation or hyperinflation for America compared to the economic growth that's happening in the country of Bitcoin, right? The world inside a world. And so part of this moves into hyper-Bitcoinization. I leave this article here in the show notes for you guys to check out, take a look at, read about what it means, what hyper-Bitcoinization means, which is what would happen to any hapless currency that stands in the way of Bitcoin's path toward total world domination. If this happens, the currency will rapidly lose value as Bitcoin supplants it. So what would such an event look like, or how would it be understood economically? Well, here's a small visual representation, and I suppose we should already update this and make another one to put down here a $50 bill or a $100 bill to really say when is that date going to be before one millibit is then worth a $50 bill, right? I mean, when are we going to see a $50,000 Bitcoin? Some people are predicting a $50,000 or $40,000 Bitcoin by the end of 2018. And so maybe in 1 year from now, maybe December 2018, we're going to put the $50 bill right here to show that this is exactly the same. It's going to be really interesting if that happens. So then we have everybody looking, turning over the Reddit. We have everybody looking at the $8,000 price, people that bought in at the $8,000 price, seeing people who are selling out at $9,000, selling out at $10,000, and people recognizing that the $10,000 price, even the $50,000 price per Bitcoin, that's no moon. Really, when the sky is the limit, the sky is not the limit. That's why we talk about the moon. This can really go not just to $1 million, but above $1 million. And maybe you only need $750,000 for one Bitcoin to be happy. Buy a nice little house, create some passive income, and, just start focusing on your hobbies. Just recognize that with a severe limitation of the number of Bitcoin that's ever going to exist in the world, it's just crazy, man. So every time someone sees a moon, you just have to realize that is no moon. And we have Bitcoin Melvin over here. I thought this was really funny too. We have Bitcoin Melvin saying, I was told there would be dips. There would be dips, please. May I have some Bitcoin dips? And right now I think a lot of people are looking for some dips. So NSFW alert. We had Roger Ver go raging in this interview because this guy kept on calling it Bitcoin Cash, B Cash. Roger Ver flipped out in this interview, did a disservice to himself, later apologized, and did an apology video because he recognized, you know, right after he flipped out that it wasn't going to look good for him. It wasn't going to look good for Bitcoin Cash. A lot of people on Reddit and across the internet have been talking about selling their Bitcoin Cash. Because of this interview, after this interview, we see Bitcoin Cash in the past 24 hours. And when this is very, very similar, but because this is a lower market cap, 5% down is a lot more than 4% up. And so there's been a significant drop in the value of Bitcoin Cash. When we look at this in terms of the BTC value, where are we? Yeah, it was 0.02, so it's now down to 0.0157. That's no good for that. And so what this really all comes down to with what's happening with Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin BTC, whichever side of the fence you're on, and please let me know in the comments below. Someone saying in this one meme that Roger Ver gets so upset when someone says Bcash instead of Bitcoin Cash because the name Bitcoin is the only thing of value in his project, and the stated goal and intention by the person that had this interview of Roger Ver was that that their intent of trying to call Bitcoin Cash and trying to call Bitcoin Cash Bitcoin is that all they're seeking to do is to take over the name Bitcoin, which would then take the value of Bitcoin and apply it all the Bitcoin Cash. It's sort of like if you have Nike and you have Reebok and then shoes, and then Reebok one day just starts calling itself Nike, or makes a line of Reeboks that are forked from a design of a Nike shoe, and then Reebok calls that Nike Reebok, and then Reebok one day just wants to take off the word Reebok and just call their shoe the Nike. And so you have Nike the original one, and then you have Nike Nike Cash or Nike Reebok. And so they're just seeking to take over the name is what's being stated here. And so that's the point of the story that you have to know, that Roger Ver flipped out. He flipped out because he's trying to take over the Bitcoin name, trying to call Bitcoin Cash to then drop the word cash and then call Bitcoin Cash simply Bitcoin. And yeah, it's super crazy. All right, so this is then moving us over to the main article of the day about the dollar collapsing against Bitcoin, and then this news coming out as being stated from Max Keiser, who has a TV show on RT. And Max Keiser believes that the dollar is not going to be able to compete with the rising price of Bitcoin. This is why I think that the US dollar is going to be, blockchained. It's going to be digitized on the blockchain. So it's going to be a Fed coin or a Fed note of some sort, because then at the very least, the Fed coin or the Fed note or whatever this new monetary currency that's going to be controlled centrally by central banks and whatnot, it needs to be a blockchain-based fiat currency, just like the bit ruble, because the paper cash, even through the banks and the electronic system, it can't move as fast, it can't move as quickly, it can't move as securely. So even if the new Fed coin is not going to be truly, blockchain technology, it's not going to be decentralized, it's going to be distributed ledger and still controlled more or less centrally, it's gonna have to become a blockchain-based fiat currency in order to partly compete with Bitcoin. But even then, it's not going to be able to survive long term, is what we think, and it's what apparently Max Keiser thinks, because it's not going to be able to keep up with the rising price of Bitcoin, because ultimately people are going to want the Bitcoin coin and not the Fed coin. And so Max Keiser goes on to say that he thinks that we're seeing fiat currencies in a hyperinflationary collapse against Bitcoin. And collapse might be that's the I think part, but we're definitely seeing fiat currencies, in a hyperinflationary relationship to Bitcoin, as we're clearly seeing from this infographic right here. And so Keiser is suggesting that major financial institutions are going to be stepping away from the conventional markets like the stock markets, and the bond markets and the other derivatives markets that are not cryptocurrency based, gold markets. We were reporting yesterday that the current economic bull run in the stock market is the second longest in history. And if the powers that be, the existing financial institutions, if the markets see that there's a turn in the markets, of which there may have already been a turn in the markets, but a lot of the data that we're receiving doesn't match up with reality, as you know, is clearly detailed. If you go watch the movie The Big Short, definitely go watch the movie The Big Short. Watch that movie like 10 times in a row. But the data doesn't always match up with reality. Go watch that movie, and it's just iterated over and over and over again, multiple instances where the data doesn't always match up with the reality. And so if the financial institutions realize that this is another instance where the current situation, the data doesn't match up with the reality, and they're seeking a safe haven to put their value, you know, maybe normally they had plan A and maybe normally they had plan B, and maybe now with Bitcoin and blockchain technology, they don't have plan C, they just made a new plan B. And that's the situation that it's in, because if the institutions, the financial institutions, if the accredited investors, wealthy investors, if, you know, mom and pop at the local store, and if, like, you know, people on welfare and food stamps, just, it doesn't even matter if everybody put their money into Bitcoin and blockchain technology, like Bitcoin and Litecoin and even Dash, you Dash lovers out there, even though I have a couple of issues with Dash. Dash does have huge value and would then also be a place where people can put their money, especially the wealthy people who would be able to afford master nodes, which are very, very expensive. And those Dash master nodes are currently, let me find out for you, currently $622,000 for a Dash master node. Yep, that's not something that I can afford to get. And so this whole situation of all these people, from institutions to wealthy people to, you know, middle-class people to people in poverty, not just in America, but people all across the world, they're going to put their money into blockchain technology. They're going to put their money into Bitcoin. And according to Max Keiser, that's something that no central bank or country will be able to stop. And it's becoming a real scenario, a real threat. And this is a real situation that I think more and more people across the world at every stage and every level are starting to pay attention to, even though it still seems like we're screaming from the top of our lungs and many people aren't paying attention. But you guys are here, so thank you, and I love you for that. So what's this go on to say? It goes on to say that don't just buy a Bitcoin without knowing about it first. That way, when a correction does come, it inevitably will, a Bitcoin correction, then you will have some intellectual foundation to keep you in the game and to not panic sell. Because if you panic sell, you could just as easily, if you panic buy, you could just as easily panic sell. So don't panic buy a Bitcoin, don't panic sell a Bitcoin. But what Max Keiser believes is that we're going to see a major price correction when the price of Bitcoin hits $25,000, which honestly could happen by the springtime, you know, by the summer, before the end of the summer. We could definitely see a $25,000 Bitcoin. None of this is financial advice. Don't take any risk. You know, make your own decisions. But don't panic buy that Bitcoin. Don't panic sell the Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin will go up. The price of Bitcoin will go down. It is a market, and that's what happens in a market. The prices of things go up and the prices of things go down. But typically in a normal market, even in the gold market, the amount of new gold gets increased. You know, they discover new gold, or they mine more gold, or they create inflation of gold by creating paper derivatives of gold. Right? But in the world of Bitcoin, there's never going to be more than 21 million Bitcoins. There's only about 16.7 million Bitcoins right now. Let's check that. Yep, 16.7 million Bitcoins right now. And yeah, don't panic buy, don't panic sell, dollar cost average, get a Trezor, you know, think about diversifying a little bit, but I would say focus 99% of your attention on Bitcoin, because that is where this is going. That is the foundation which every other coin is connected to. There could always be a black swan event, but right now we might see a black swan event for the US dollar, or at least pieces in place for the potential of a black swan event for the US dollar. Yeah, there's definitely a lot more upside with Bitcoin and a lot of risk right now with the stock market. Okay, so channel update, you know, end of the news, going into a channel update. Wanted to show this to you. Give me a second here. Let me fix this, move it over. And so, yeah, we were letting you know, like every single video, just the other video we showed you guys, these last 3 videos were under review, not suitable for most advertisers. So it's interesting. These didn't hit 1,000 yet, but I guess it's been a few days. So it's been enough days have gone by that people aren't searching for this actively anymore. And so now, you know, it went away. Maybe they reviewed it. Maybe it was automatic. And so these are good to go. They're monetized. They're even Steven, even though the biggest bang for our buck in terms of people's attention, because the money is worthless. It's not worthless, it's practically worthless, but it's only $1. Yeah, and so, but look at this. So the next, I told you guys, every single video. I don't even know why I do this, because it's every single video. But here, yesterday's video, 27th, not suitable for most advertisers. We're talking about money, we're talking about the stock market. I don't know. We had a couple dislikes. 3 people didn't like our videos, but look at this: 170 likes, 0 dislikes, 53 likes, 0 dislikes. You know, people love this content. We get, you know, yes, we already said some people don't like the ICO reviews. Keeps our channel going. You know, we gotta put food on the table, so to speak. I do have 5 kids. I don't know if everybody knows that, but I do have 5 kids that I love and support, and so this takes a lot of my time. Minting coins is sort of another one of my children, so there'd be like a 6th child. Human children, I have 5 kids. So when you count some of the businesses, then there's more than 5 kids. But yeah, so I just really appreciate your support. You know, like this video, comment on this video. Just it helps other people. It helps us. It just invigorates me with energy to see your comments and to see your words of encouragement and to receive your questions and to receive your emails and to receive the donations from the people who can afford that. Just thank you very, very much. Speaking of donations, I don't know what we're doing. I feel like a little bit we're flying by the seat of our pants. You know, there's a lot of things that I have going on. I'm not working on minting coins full time. I would love to be working on minting coins full time. With 5 kids, you know, it's hard for me to be as risky as I used to be with my business decisions. But you know, we threw up a GoFundMe page just because we're just so passionate and just so inspired and just have such intent and desire to increase our reach and increase our voice and just to reach more people, to let more people know about Bitcoin and blockchain technology before we reach that $100,000 mark, and then before we reach that $1 million mark. And so what our vision is that we can get the studio. And so we have this GoFundMe account for $25,000, which would be, you know, about $2,100 a month for, you know, a business space and utilities and internet and stuff like that, about $2,100 a month for the next 12 months. So we're seeking to, you know, just seek that so we can, you know, cover the risk of, you know, securing a space. If this was 10x'd, then I'd be able to just work in this, get a space and work in this full time. But, you know, we're not asking for $1 million. We're just asking for just enough to get us the physical space that we need. I already have all the equipment. I already own all the equipment. I already have the lights, the camera, the computers, the microphones, you know, the wiring, the know-how. It would just be great to get out of the, you know, the attic or the garage, so to speak, and then into a real place where we can start inviting real people, right? Just local business leaders, national leaders, world leaders, to come onto our show physically, virtually, for us to have a bigger stage and setup to connect and to deliver more information. Yeah, that's sort of the vision. So, you know, I would appreciate if anyone has any thoughts or opinions on this. You know, is this sort of foolish of me to ask for money? Is it, you know, selfish? I don't know. I guess what I'm thinking is I really don't want to go through traditional finance. I don't want to give up, you know, ownership of the business, and I don't want our voice to be tainted, because even though we do ICO reviews, you know, the agreement with the ICO reviews that we do is that we are able to say whatever we want, and we are able to be, you know, open and honest with our audience, right? So just because we're being paid doesn't mean that you know, we're being paid what to say, or we're being paid to not say something. Yeah, so I just appreciate all your help, appreciate all your support. With that being said, also, if you wanted to become a member over at mintingcoins.com, that's another way to donate to us directly. It's another way to be part of our community. It's a part of a way just to connect with us and to connect with other people. And if you don't want to pay for the website membership, you can still join the website. And then if you're not able to, or or don't want to pay for that membership, just become a member. Email us through the website, and then we'll upgrade your account for free if you're one of the first 500 to 1,000 people signed up on the website. And there's not a lot of people signed up right now, so you're probably in there. Yeah, it's more than 5 people. But, yeah, so I encourage you to become a member over there and join us over at the website mintingcoins.com. Check us out on social. Check us out wherever you like to hang out, let it be Facebook or Steemit or Twitter or Instagram. We have a lot going on. We have a lot of content we're creating, communicating and connecting with people in a lot of different ways. And it'd be really fun to connect with you as well. So with that being said, thanks for showing up. Thanks for sticking around this show. Again, like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, upvote us on Steemit. Continue paying attention, continue having a voice, continue being heard, continue learning, because, this is just the beginning. If Bitcoin was to drop, $4,000, and then we were to watch it increase again, this is just the beginning of where we're going to go. This is just the beginning of the excitement. With all the excitement, and all the ups come a lot of downs and downs. That's why this is a roller coaster. But, by learning this information, by understanding what's happening with this new dynamic, with these new paradigms, we are going to get through this, and we're going to be stronger, and we're going to get through this and be stronger together. So with that being said, thanks for showing up. We have new content on the way soon. Be on the lookout for that. And in the meantime, I'm glad that together we are minting coins.